Hi, we're going to do our unit practice test together. This will be for a grade you're expected to get 80% or higher. You will have to redo it. What you need to be successful for this is to split your screen so that you can have a calculator open, and you're going to need a whiteboard and a marker or a piece of paper and pencil to complete your problems on there. So go ahead and grab that now. Okay, so here is our unit review. The first problem you have here, a gymnast set a goal of doing 50 push-ups each week. They have completed 40% of their goal for the week. How many push-ups have they done? So they have done 40% of their goal, and I want you to think about what their goal is. So 40% of what number is what you're going to be writing at the top of your board here. So 40% of their goal. Hopefully you can see here that their goal is 50 push-ups. So your board should look like this, 40% of 50 push-ups. You are then going to make 40% into a fraction, something over 100. You should know what of means in math, and you should know that 50 as a fraction is 50 over 1. Now remember, once you find in the missing blanks that I haven't done for you, you're going to then have however many push-ups it is here. I'm going to pause the screen and put some multiple choice up for you to then decide which is the correct answer. Go ahead and stop and figure this out now. You should have circled 20 push-ups for that problem. Question 2. These two people are each walking at a constant speed. So Vihan walks 40 feet in 10 seconds. Natalia walks 23 feet in 4 seconds. Who walks faster? For this one, remember, you're just going to be dividing these two numbers, and it's going to tell you how many feet they walk in 1 second. So for example, if you divide 40 by 10, you know that the answer is 4. That means that in 1 second, they are walking 4 feet. So that is for Vihan. We're still trying to figure out Natalia. She walks 23 feet in 4 seconds. So in your calculator now, you're going to put in 23 divided by 4. So if you have done this correctly, you figured out that Natalia in 1 second is traveling 5 7/75 feet. So here you can see who travels further in that time, if they're walking at this constant speed. You can obviously see that Natalia is walking further. 5 7/75 is bigger than 4. But now, when this screen pauses, you're going to have to explain your reasoning why. Please use at least one complete sentence. Okay, for this problem, remember when we're finding percentages, we're setting up what we already know in this problem. So Xavier is chopping 60 Brussels sprouts for dinner. It takes 3 minutes to chop the first 15. In this case, the 3 minutes is really irrelevant, just an extra number thrown in there to kind of confuse you a bit. So we're going to make a fraction. How many has he chopped? What is his goal amount to chop? You should make that into a fraction. So it should be 15 over 60. Once you divide that, so you're going to put 15 in the calculator first, and you're going to divide that by 60, you will then take your answer and multiply it by 100. So in your calculator, you're taking 15 divided by 60, and I get 25 hundredths. Then if I'm multiplying that by 100, it is 25%. So for letter A, 25% are the amount of Brussels sprouts that he has chopped so far. At this rate, how long would it take to chop all 60 Brussels sprouts? Now that 3 minutes does matter. So we're going to set up a ratio chart. I am going to put minutes, and then I'm going to put for Brussels sprouts. So in 3 minutes, he's chopped 15. We want to know how long it's going to take to chop 60. So I want you to think for a second, am I going to put 60 Brussels sprouts on the Brussels sprout side or the minute side? Hopefully you said Brussels sprout side. To get from 15 to 60, what do you have to multiply by? Whatever number you get there, you're going to do the same thing to 3 and multiply it by that on that side. So at this rate, how long would it take to chop all 60? Go ahead and enter your answer on this next slide. All right, for question 4, Terrence's family set a goal of 400 hours of volunteer work. They have done 35% of their volunteer work, so how many hours have they worked so far? So here, we don't have to set up the fractions like we did in the last one, because this is kind of the basics of finding how many hours they've worked so far. We're finding 35% of 400. We're finding 35% of 400 because we know that 400 is their goal. I want you to quick take that math common sense time. Should our answer be more or less than 400 hours if they've only gotten 35% of it? Hopefully you're thinking, yes, my answer should be less than 400 when I'm done. You know that you're going to have to make 35 into a percent, change of into multiplication, and then make 400 into a fraction. Go ahead and do that now. Hopefully you entered 140 hours on that last slide. For this one, there are 2 true statements here. So as I'm going through, I set up a ratio table for myself. I put oil and then vinegar, and it says that for every 4 tablespoons of oil, there's 3 tablespoons of vinegar. So it says select all the statements that are true. Number 1, Rio needs 2 tablespoons of oil. So I'm going to put 2 over here. Now it says 3 over 2 on this side. I'm going to use my math common sense here. If I went from 4 to 2, I would have to be dividing by 2, which 4 divided by 2 is 2, so that works. And then 3 divided by 2, I know I could put 3 over 2, so A is one of my correct answers. Now, remember, I'm trying to work smarter, not harder, so I can see that I'm going to do this again. Going to go ahead and write down 4 and 3, just the original information that the problem says directly at the top here, 4 tablespoons of oil for every 3 of vinegar. So 3 doesn't go in well with 4, so I'm just going to skip that now because I don't want to think too hard. Going to skip the 5, and I'm going to go to letter D. The recipe uses 3/4 tablespoon of oil per 1 tablespoon of vinegar. So I'm going to put 1 down here because I know that when I'm using the ones or the word per, that it's a lot easier for me because now all I have to do is divide by 3. 4 divided by 3 would be 4 over 3, so D does not work. I'm going to write this down one more time. The 4 and 3 is my original information, and it says 1 tablespoon of oil should be 3/4. Again, 4 to 1, how do I get there? I'm dividing by 4. 3 have to divide by 4, and that would be 3/4. So A and E are both my correct answers. Okay, so for this problem, it says Jay bought a jacket that was on sale for 20% off the regular price. Jay saved $14. What was the regular price of the jacket? So here we have to set up, we know that it is $14 and that it's 20% off. So right away, I am going to take 14 divided by 20. I know that I will then need to multiply my answer times 100. Go ahead and do that now. Hopefully you got $70 for that. Jay is then entering an expression into the calculator at the jacket store, 20 over 100. So that's 20% of something times 64. So you're going to come up with a question that Jay could answer about the prices at the store using this expression in the next box. Our last problem we have for this test review is that a store is selling pajamas in only 2 sizes. Size 1 is for people who are less than 60 inches tall. Size 2 is for people that are 60 inches tall or taller. Juan's height is 145 centimeters, so which size is going to fit Juan? You're going to circle 1 and then explain your thinking. So right away, I see a conversion here that 4 inches is about 10 centimeters. So I'm going to write IN and CM for inches and centimeters on my ratio table. I'm going to put the 4 inches on the correct side and the 10 inches on the correct side. Now it says that Juan is 145 centimeters tall. So am I going to put that centimeter number on the centimeter side or the inch side? Hopefully you realize it's the centimeter side. And you're going to have to figure out what you're multiplying by 10 to get 145. Then you'll do the same thing to the other side. That is going to tell you how tall he is in inches. It's going to give you your inches number. If it is less than 48, he's going to go for size 1. If it is more than 60 inches, you're going to go for size 2. So you're going to put your answer there and then explain your thinking. Good job.